This week on The Sofa with Esther, a voice that carries soul, grit, and timeless truth. Join me in conversation with Omar Wilson, award-winning singer and songwriter, the man behind the heartfelt track Get to Know You, performed with the late, legendary Angie Stone. Good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to another special On The Sofa with Esther. Well, today we're joined by a voice that embodies the heart of soul and the edge of hip hop, a true storyteller through music. He's a three-time Apollo amateur night winner, and he was named Best R&B Male Artist of the Year not once but twice in 2008 and 2009 at the Underground Music Awards. Omar has opened for legendary acts such as Boyz II Men and the Neville Brothers, and he's brought his signature soulful sound to powerful collaborations such as that with the late DMX. He also joined forces with Raheem DeVaughn, Cisco, Sean Stockman for a stunning cover. That was stunning. Of Quincy Jones's Secret Garden, one of my absolute favorites. He paid homage to the godfather of soul with a gripping rendition of James Brown's It's a Man's World. However, today, Omar is here also to talk about a deeply special moment. His single, Get to Know You, with the late, great Angie Stone. Angie's legacy as a soul icon lives on through this beautiful collaboration. And Omar's going to share what it was like working with her, how the song came to life, came to life, and the emotional journey behind it. So welcome, Omar.
Man, thank you for that illustrious introduction, man. Just, hearing it sometimes allows you to revisit actually doing it. So thank
Absolutely.
you. I appreciate you very much. And
Absolutely.
energy's in the building.
That's
good
right.
Vibes in the building, baby. Let's go.
And it's interesting. I watched another of your interviews and I'm sitting nodding to everything that you said about the journey, about who you've become, about who you've evolved into, but more so holding yourself as the king, not in that ego way, but knowing who you truly are. And it was interesting because, like I said, I had an interesting interview on Sunday, and I was just simply saying that we've got to do the work in order to elevate. Nobody can do it for us. And when we elevate, we can walk through fire, we can walk through Armageddon. But when you know who you are and you have that power of purpose and that power of connection, you can become anyone, and it may take time. And so just listening to you, but anyway.
No, please. I'm about to interview you. I'm like, damn, I needed to hear this myself. Please continue, pretty lady.
Well, this is brilliant because there is an energy. I always said 2025 is a year where there's so many things. It's about revelation on the highest frequency, and it's about truth and authenticity. And even, so we're here to talk about the late, great Angie Stone, and this is leading into it because I've interviewed her twice. I had interviewed her twice and I met her once. And what she stood for, she always said, this is me. She claimed that this is who I am. And she was always reaching out to others around her. And so I feel really privileged to have you, Omar Wilson, on my platform. And so before I go any further, who is Omar in a nutshell, in a peanut shell, or a coconut shell?
Man, I'll take coconut. I mean, peanuts is good because it's protein, so that's good too. You know what I mean? But Omar Wilson is a singer, songwriter, man, and true live performer. Omar Wilson is a little bit of everybody out here on this planet because at the end of the day, we're all trying to figure out the things that make us great. But the first thing to figure out is that you already are. You know what I mean? So that's what I truly believe Omar Wilson is. It's kind of like the Clark Kent and Superman. Like Clark Kent and Superman are the same person.
Yeah.
But they chose to make the Man of Steel that can do things that no one can do be the mild-mannered reporter, an everyday person. So you can see that you can be anyone and become something great. So that's what I think Omar Wilson is. My story is everybody's story, no matter who you are, where you come from. You got a little bit of what I've been going through, you know, in your vibe. And that's what I believe is my connection with the people. Definitely the songs and the intent and the integrity I put behind singing them. But
Mm.
it's the connection of, man, you done been through something, and I have as well. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I could feel it coming up off you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and you just confirmed it just now,
Yeah.
once again. So I get more confirmation of, like I said, who I am and my journey, because it's been so many things that sometimes you have to hear it from an individual to really have the revelation of, you know what, that is a part of who I am and why I am the way I am and what I'm becoming.
Mm. And the word that came to me was chameleon. You can be the chameleon of life.
Yeah. 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 I call it, it's crazy because people that personally know me, they're like, yo, oh, you should do comedy because you're such a funny person, punchliney person. Because it's like life has been so crazy. I call it dead serious comedy because a lot of the things in my life has been unbelievably serious. But if you spin it the
Yes.
right way, you got to learn how to laugh at the pain and find light in everything. So
Absolutely. And be the
I,
child. Because sometimes you gotta, when you're in that place of darkness, you gotta find the child in you. And maybe the child is that place of innocence and wonder and awe, because with that energy, you can sometimes not be seen and come through because of that innocence, but then also
mm,
learning to have fun on the outskirts of that. Because without having fun, if I want to jump in a puddle and splash myself, I'm gonna do it.
right.
It takes me away from sometimes the and it can be the pressure of being an adult and being constantly on tap all the time. And so this then leads into, Omar, your song, the track that you did with the late Angie Stone. um
Mm.
Tell us a little bit more about that, and how did that come about?
Man, well, I had the track. I had written the first 8 bars and the hook. And the first person that came to mind for the record was Angie. And at that time, my management knew their people. They worked everything out, and it just happened. I ended up flying to Atlanta. She was there. I don't. It's crazy because as I recall it, I'm not sure if she got the track prior or it was just the business that was correct and she heard it when she first got there, or she had
Mm.
heard the record prior. But either way, I only wrote that much on purpose because of course I wanted her expertise, her vibe, her energy, who she is. And initially she walked in, I just recorded my vocals and the hook, so she had something to go off of. Walked in, vibed out, like as she was even taking her coat off, it was already coming up with melodies and stuff. So of course I'm like, okay, this is what I wanted. You know what I mean? I wanted to show her that yeah, I'm one of those people also, but this is a collaborative experience. You know what I mean? And they say to become great, you learn from legends. So it
Yes.
was an amazing experience just to throw back and forth melodies, get her initial vibe, and at that time not even fully knowing her rap background, but the way that the energy was swirling was like a cipher, like a rap cipher. Like when you spit something, I throw something, and that energy creates the moment in time.
Yes.
So it definitely was that. And I've had the record for a minute. We're in the process of creating records for my new album entitled Iconic. The first
Mm.
single was called The Bad Ones. It's called The Bad Ones. But then with these these tragic events, we kind of just, of course, it stopped everybody in their tracks. So said, you know what, this is definitely the time to pay homage to the icon and put this record at the forefront of where I'm moving and what I got going on. So once again, shout out to
Brilliant.
Angie Stone, her family, and everybody, her friends, fans all across the planet, man. And let's all make sure we do what we need to do to make sure she lives forever. my job is putting this record out and making sure it goes to #1. And it's one of those records for spring, summer, and fall, because I really believe the record has that potential, man. It definitely has that energy, that vibe, and now the purpose.
It's interesting because when you spoke about, there was a vibe when she walked in the room and she was already spinning bars, she was already sort of scribbling away. And I had the privilege of doing tribute one to her on Sunday on my Sunday show with Melba Moore, Bobby Brooks Wilson, and Herbert Middleton. And one
Wow.
thing Bobby and Melba Moore said, she was always writing. She was always writing. She was always writing. And even from a young age, because Bobby Brooks Wilson said they went to school together, he goes, she always had these reams of paper. She was always writing. And it was almost as if her soul knew where she was going to be and who she was going to become. And now you're talking about when she just walked in the room, she was already on it and vibed. And we're all special in our own way, but then there's a greatness sometimes that goes before some of us or some people. And I believe that certain people are put down here to lead, to show the way. And even with her own life's journey, it was, her life's journey was incredibly challenging. And yet I always remember, like I said, the times when I spoke to her, she just had this humility. She was just so down to earth. And she was so honest and open about what she was experiencing. But she just wanted to reach out to the people and to be there for the people through her gift, through her passion, through her purpose, which then defined who she was as the queen that you said she was, right?
Correct. Like you said, you have to accept your royalty. You have to accept who you are. What you was talking about in the beginning about just basic self-love, man. If you do not believe you're great, nobody else is going to. And she achieved that belief so early that now you want to give it to everybody else that needs it. They need that energy. They need to know that it's okay to be flawed and still have greatness. You know what I mean? And what makes you great is your flaws. You know what I'm saying? Not being perfect, because there is no perfect being, but the perfect being. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely is. I mean, I can't say it no better than the way you just explained it. She was a personification of knowing you're great, showing you're great, helping others be great, and doing it in a way where they say, if you live life the correct way, you last forever.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit in terms of your own journey in the music industry, your entry into I believe it was, you were recognized at church, they recognized your spiritual prowess and big words tonight. I've been on Chat GPT.
Yeah, please. Please, shout out Chat GPT and the good people that created that. Yeah.
AI is a great tool, man.
Hey, man. Hey, shout out to AI and everybody else that makes it easier to be who we are.
But just I mean, did you really know in your soul then that this was the path that you were going to take? Because I interview lots of legacy acts, and I feel very privileged because they could go way back. When I was 3 or 4, and I'm like, dang, sometimes I can't remember what I did last year. But they go back in the time where they just knew who they were. They knew what they were down here for. They knew, as I keep using this word, purpose. So what was it like for you? When did you recognize that this was who you are? And you're not just a singer, you're not just a performer, you're not just an entertainer, but you're a messenger, Omar.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, like, I was born 6 years old. My mom put me in the choir. 7 years old, I was singing solos. So it was almost like it became me. It was one of those things that origin-wise I grew up with. And at 7, when I started doing the solos, and like you said, I would see the reaction, whether it's crying or happy or ecstatic or just in awe. That let me know off the gate, this is what I want to do, because it makes people feel good.
Yes.
And it made it, and at the beginning, and in the beginning, as a kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, it was a little scary because it was like to see the intensity that people would come with from how you deliver a song. And then, of course, now as an adult, yeah, because when you done been through stuff and it hits that chord, I mean, it's like being on a roller coaster. You can't not scream. You can't not have emotion when the feeling is that deep.
Yeah.
So I had my first child when I was 17, turning 18. And I had this voice. And that was the initial propellant, the initial power. I said, I'm going to use what God gave me to make sure that my child and my generations to come have the best unfair financial advantage possible.
Wow.
And that's what began the journey. That's where the tenacity and the unwillingness to ever do anything other than succeed came from. The survival of family. You can't beat that. Like it never really, it wasn't even trying to like being a star or, people loving me. And that was that, that's a prerequisite, but it was survival from the beginning. So and I think it's always been me. It's just been an evolution to it becoming my profession, but I've been cultivating it since being able to walk. So it's really like God chose me for it, because in the beginning, going back to it, when I was 5 and 6, they wanted to give me Ritalin because I wasn't a bad kid. I was just, where's Omar? Anybody, Omar over there? Like you had to make sure you get my eye.
My eldest son was like that.
Yeah, so back then it was like, man, give him something.
My parents, Omar, that reminds me of my eldest son. And I remember the times when my parents had to look after him. I'd come home. Comes the next time to the table. So that as soon as I walked in, literally he would rebound. Like,
hey, that's called innovation. That's
and I had to be careful who I left him with, because he was just so full of energy. You're talking. When we used to go to church, because we lived in the Middle East briefly, and after church we'd be talking, and then they're like, "Oh, your son," and he wasn't bad, but he was just energetic. It was good for me, but
like mine, a squirrel did it, so I'm thinking, inspiration. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because one of the last doctors that I was taken to, I remember Dr. Martin, because she told me Dr. Martin. Hopefully he's still here. He was like, the kid just needs an outlet. It's like, give him something to do that actually holds his attention. And that's when she put me in church, and I was so loud that they gave me the solo. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll stand in front of everybody and do this. Anything. I guess that energy, even then, it's like I wanted to give and get that energy.
Yes.
Because it was big, like it's bigger than me. It's the universe. Yes. It was bigger than who I am. So it's always been that to this moment. And I'm so thankful for it, because now this is the energy that I get to share with the whole world. And no matter how many times I do it, no matter how many years I do it, it gets better. It's more of a charge. Instead of it depleting, it becomes, it charges itself.
Yes, absolutely. And you're talking, and I remember when I was going to school, and I used to say, because I used to feel I was going to combust, and I would start to shake, and I'm like, I need to get off and walk. I need to get off and walk. And that's why I've loved to walk, because I can feel this. I thought I was going to levitate and fly sometimes. And people are like, what's wrong with you? And I used to irritate my parents. I was like, you can't keep still. They were from Barbados, right? And they were very, very strict Christian people.
Yeah, very rigid.
And then, it's almost like they want to rebuke you. But I've just got this energy about me. But now that I'm older, and you grow and evolve, it's I can imbue that into what I do. So I love doing these interviews, talking to people,
Mm.
charging that energy, because what that's also doing, I'm doing this not just for me, it's not for me, but it's also when people listen to this, they can get inspired, they can get powered, and yes, get a little, charged up. Bit like a
That's
Tesla, right?
That's what it's. I mean, I've had a lot of different jobs along this way, and one of them was even before, like now motivational speaking, and just this last decade, I was doing that 20 years ago, speaking to
Mm,
kids, going to high schools, middle schools, camps, because I was blessed to come up with a mother and a father in the same home. You know what I mean? And we're together until they both recently passed away. But and when I look to my left and my right, like 95% of all my friends didn't have that, to the point where it was like they will come to my house just to
mm,
experience a family unit and see that it's real. So initially, that always was my mission statement, man, to
mm,
just give that energy that I was given initially. Like I said, we didn't have a lot, but it didn't matter because it
yes.
still felt like we was in a mansion because we were together. And then
Mm,
getting the visualization of how real it was, seeing the look on my friends' faces was like, damn, this is like that special. And it was real to me from the beginning. So it's always been about high vibration and trying my best to let people know, man, you're great. So, like you said, when I say, the Black Sinatra, I am a king. I do
Black
move as the lion stood because I am that. That's not with arrogance and to make someone else feel inferior. It's to empower and show those
yes.
it's okay to be who you are and say who you are. And whoever don't like it, what I mean, go over there, log off. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate what you're doing because you never know who's going to listen to the message you give and propel them in their journey to greatness.
Absolutely. But also, there's something even more significant to what you do, and also what I believe Angie Stone represented. We talk about the heart and soul of music, and R&B. They're trying to hold on to the true and real essence of R&B. What did R&B mean back in the day? I know there's a lady called Star Carr, and she has this proclamation which she had put through, I think, Congress or whatever, that this first Saturday of the month in March is National R&B Day. She really wants to build that out,
Mm.
and it's about honoring the legends. And you said something in one of your interviews where you know I think you had an album that was called, is it Living Legends? And
Correct.
so
Living Legend is the name of my first album.
album, that's right. And
Yeah.
so it was very much about, you're not just a legend when you pass away, but honoring the legends that you are now. And I believe your representation, the music that you do, I mean, that the cover that you did of Quincy Jones' Secret Garden and the cover of James Brown was so powerful,
Thank
so
you.
so powerful. And when
Thank
you
you.
sing, that you've got that like raspiness, but it's that soul raspiness. um
Mm.
and so like I said, what Angie represented, she is a legend on so many levels. She's also a queen on so many levels. Put my teeth in on so many
Yeah.
levels. But also, what was really unique about her was that she tried to stay real,
It's always there.
her
And
real
she loved
authentic.
God, and she loved God, and
That's right, absolutely.
she held no punch. That's what makes you iconic. Like they say, some people are stars, some people are
Mhm.
superstars, some superstars aren't legends. Some legends don't become icons. So it's a
Mm,
lot of different dynamics to it. But someone that can achieve that whole nirvana, that whole circle, circle, is because they have no problem showing how flawed they are and how great they are. I think that's what makes you iconic, man.
yes.
I mean, not just saying I'm great and look at my accomplishments, but look what I did to get here.
Mm,
Look what I endured to accomplish this, and still remain a level of of level-mindedness now that I've got here, whether if you've been treated bad, backstab, front stab, to even to get through that and still say, you know what, I'm still want to help the person that maybe wouldn't even help me.
That's humility. There's a power in humility. There's a power in vulnerability as well. Absolutely, absolutely. And so, Omar, where to now for you? I mean, we're in the second quarter of the year. So what's coming up for the rest of the year for Omar?
Man, well, definitely we're gonna make sure that this new single, "Get to Know You," featuring Angie Stone, goes to #1. That's first and foremost. Being booked for tours all around this country, so definitely look out for that. We are, like I said, we're gonna be doing more singles for my new album, Iconic. The first single is called The Bad Ones. Look for a video dropping for that as well. We're gonna work on trying to work a video for Angie's record. And man, just touring and getting ready to make sure that I share my gift with the whole world this year, and I'm able to meet you face to face, person to person, and do this on stage, live all across this planet.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, ladies and gents, I have been talking to Omar Wilson. We've just paid tribute to the late, great Angie Stone, but also we are honoring a living legend here and now with some incredible words of wisdom. And yeah, just keep moving, because I was feeling a little tired earlier, and now I'm ready to zing zing zang zang zoom. So
that's what it's about, baby. You got to give it to get it. You got to get it to give it. You know what I mean? And thank you. I appreciate you. Like what they say, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, doesn't make a sound, man. So without individuals like yourself exposing and just creating the relationship through your relationships with my music, it won't get out to everybody. And that's what it's about, is making sure that we touch the world so they have the same energy we have to keep moving and vibrate at the higher level.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and hoping to meet you one day. And yeah, when your next album comes out, I'd love to do another interview with you. So this is On the Sofa with Omar Wilson. Thank you, Omar.
Blessings to you. I appreciate your energy.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Have a good one.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click the bell icon for notifications on future videos. Thank you for watching.